Hey guys, welcome to Southern Gal True Crime. It's Friday. We made it through another week, which is always good. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. We cover missing persons, cold cases, and current true crime in the news. And once again, tonight we will be covering current true crime in the news. In the last few days, there's been some new information coming out about Rex Heuermann, the accused, alleged Gilgo Beach killer. Sorry, they don't like the M word on YouTube. So anyway, he has been charged with he has been linked to and charged with the killing of 3 of the Gilgo Beach victims, and he is suspected in the killing of the 4th one. But like I said, last couple of days, information has come out that he has been linked to 3 other locations across the United States. So in total, they said he is linked to 4 locations in the United States currently. Of course, the first one is Long Island, New York. He has also been linked now to Las Vegas, to South Carolina, and the big one, which we will be discussing tonight, is Atlantic City, New Jersey. But we will get into all that. But first, as always, I always feature a missing person. So let me bring it up. All right. My slides right. And my missing person features come from neverforgottenarkansas.gov, which is the Arkansas Missing Persons Database. And tonight's featured missing person is Tori Dawn Anderson. She is just 15 years old. She is a white female, 5'7", 145 pounds, with hazel eyes and brown hair. She went missing about a week ago on the 14th, July 14th, from Van Buren, Arkansas. If you have any information about Tori or her disappearance, you can contact the Van Buren Police Department at 479-474-1234. Please, to help get the information out more quickly, like this video, share this video, comment on this video, share Tori's picture, her information. I will put a link to this in the description box. Please share it to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, to get the information out. All right, with that important information taken care of, we will go to our sorry, I'm still getting used to StreamYard. We will go to our case for the night. And is Rex Heuermann the Eastbound Strangler? And you may be asking, as I was when I read about this, who is the Eastbound Strangler? The Eastbound Strangler he killed 4 ladies in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And as you see in the subtitle down there, the authorities have said they are very similar to the Long Island serial killings. And Rex Heuermann has ties to Atlantic City. Now, I haven't found any articles that said exactly what they found that tied him to Atlantic City, so hopefully that will come out in the future. Or if any of you out there have seen or read anything about how they have tied him possibly to Atlantic City, please let me know in the comments. So first, we're going to take a look at Here we go. At some of the newer information that has come out. Sorry. Technical difficulties as usual. Back. There we go. Okay. It says law enforcement sources told CBS News detectives are now looking into unsolved murders across the country to see if they are linked to Heuermann. Police say he was behind the deaths of the 3 victims, of course, that were found on Gilgo Beach, and he is the suspect in the 4th killing. 59-year-old lived in Massapequa Park, Long Island, with his wife, his adult daughter, and his stepson. The home is just 18 miles from where the bodies were found in Gilgo Beach. For some reason that won't go away. I can't see. There we go. And this is new. I hadn't read this. That they think that at least one victim of the Gilgo Beach killings was killed at the house where he lived. I don't know how they determined that. I'm sure they found obviously something that led them to believe that at least one of the victims was killed there. And in the last couple of days, police have been seen searching the property for trophies that may be linked to the victims. And investigators are also looking at his, he has a timeshare in Las Vegas, which if I remember correctly, timeshares are kind of like houses or condos that you pay money and to be there at a certain time and such. Anyway, I'm sure y'all know what timeshares are. I'm not explaining it very well, so we will move on. And he also owns a property in South Carolina. So that is all new information, or it's new information to me that I've finally had time to read up again on, get caught up on everything that has been going on. All right. And the big one is police have revealed that Heuermann may have ties to Atlantic City in New Jersey. And this update from law enforcement comes after it was revealed that the Gilgo Beach killings have similarities to the killings killings in the area by what is called the Eastbound Strangler or the Atlantic City Strangler, who killed 4 prostitutes by strangling them near Atlantic City. The investigation now covers, like I said, 4 states. He owns a timeshare in Las Vegas, property in South Carolina, possible connection to Atlantic City, and then the original case in New York and Long Island. Suffolk County Police have already executed search warrants in the 2 properties, and I'm assuming they mean the ones in Las Vegas and South Carolina. And they recovered the Chevy Avalanche truck that they believe is connected to Heuermann and possibly to one of the more murders, and they have transported it back to New York, assumably to be processed and things of that nature. And hopefully they will find some good evidence. All right. Now, the Eastbound Strangler. Who is the Eastbound Strangler? He is an unidentified serial offender believed to be responsible for the killings of 4 women near Atlantic City, New Jersey in 2006. I don't know if it's still valid, but at the time of this, a $25,000 reward is offered for information has gone unclaimed. So, in other words, nobody has brought forth any information or any credible information as of 2023. I said he had 4 victims. The time span was from October to November of 2006. The 4 victims: Barbara Breeder, Kimberly Raffo, Molly Diltz, and Tracy Ann Roberts. And we will take a look at each victim individually. Now, the bodies were found in a drainage ditch, and this is the actual, went the wrong way. This is, anyway, my camera is mirrored, so I'm all backwards. Anyway, the picture is the actual location where they were found. They were found in the drainage ditch filled with shallow water on November 20th, so they were all found the same day of 2006. And this drainage ditch is behind the Golden Key Motel on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. That's a mouthful. And it is situated on the outskirts of Atlantic City, New Jersey. All of them, now this possibly could be posing a signature, whatever you want to call it. All of them were placed face down in a row, facing east, and they were all placed about 60 feet apart from each other, so fairly evenly spaced. And if I remember correctly, when I was reading about the placement of the Gilgo Beach victims, they were also placed almost exactly equal distance apart and maybe facing the same way. I'm not sure about that, but I am 99% sure that they were placed equidistant apart. So placed in a row facing east, about 60 feet apart from each other. They were clothed except for their shoes and socks were removed, and they were all believed to have been strangled. Now, the other interesting part about this is, or to me, is that all their shoes and their socks were removed, and I'm assuming that they did not find them at the scene. Now, we know that in the Rex Heuermann investigation from Long Island, the Gilgo Beach, that they are looking for trophies, souvenirs, and apparently, just from what I've read, they may have found things. So I'm wondering, with the removal of the socks and the shoes, could that be a connection? Maybe one of the connections that authorities have made that think that ties him maybe to this case, and that he could possibly be the Eastbound Strangler. So, just some food for thought. All right. The first victim, or victim number 1, Barbara V. Breeder, who was 42 years old. She worked as a prostitute to support her cocaine addiction. She disappeared in October 2006, but was not reported missing for several weeks. She was identified through dental records, and her body was so badly decomposed that the cause of death could not be determined. But I'm assuming that they're going on the assumption that she was strangled. I said that's just an assumption on my part, but they have mentioned several times that they think all of these 4 victims were strangled or asphyxiated in some way. All right, next we have Molly Jean Diltz, who was only 20 years old. She was originally from Black Lick, Pennsylvania. She was last seen alive a few days before her disappearance. She was the only victim not to have a record for prostitution, but she was believed to be working as one. She was believed to have been the first to be killed. I don't know how they determined that, but I'm not an investigator. So they have their ways. And also her body was so decomposed that her cause of death could not be determined. All right, next we have Kim Raffo, who she was 35. She was a former waitress. She was originally from Canarsie, Brooklyn. She had left her husband and children for drugs and prostitution. She went to Atlantic City for drugs and prostitution, so she left her family behind. She was last seen alive just one day before the bodies were discovered, so she is believed to be the last of the 4 victims to be killed. And she was apparently strangled with a rope or a cord. All right, and the last, Tracy Ann Roberts was 23 years old. She was a former erotic dancer, and she was originally from a small town in Delaware. She prostituted to support a drug habit. She was last seen alive in November of 2006 when she was hit in the throat and put in the hospital by a man who wished to, I don't know, who wished to be her P. Let me just put it that way. I don't know if YouTube likes that word, but so I'll just say he was wanted to be her manager. Let's put it that way. And she had been asphyxiated. Right. Sorry, I got to get a drink. It's hot in here again tonight. I'm telling you. I'm so ready for summer to be over. Because apparently the older I get, I cannot tolerate the heat. But anyway, and it's been like 100 degrees down here with like 100,000% humidity. But anyway, enough of my problems. We will get back to the case. All right. So, as far as the investigation and any persons of interest or anybody who was looked at, Eldred Raymond Burchell, who had given himself the nickname of the Riverman, possibly referring to the Green River Killer Gary Ridgway, maybe he was a fan, was suspected after he had confessed to another prostitute that he had killed people. However, he has, they never found anything to actually connect him to any murders, much less these 4 ladies. Now it says here, which I thought was interesting, there was thought at one time to be a possible connection to the Long Island serial killings, but investigators later ruled it out. All right. Next, Charles Coles, who was a drug dealer and a friend of Kim Raffo, who is one of the victims, was questioned by police, but he was released without charge, as was Mark Hesse, who also was an acquaintance of Kim and Barbara. So apparently they were interviewed, talked to, nothing came of it, and they were released without any charges. So, and I got all this information is coming from Wikipedia, so it's updated. So the last entry they had, interestingly enough, was Rex Heuermann, already suspected in at least 10 killings. YouTube doesn't like the M word either. May now be implicated in a series of brutal killings that have baffled investigators in Atlantic County, New Jersey. For nearly 2 decades, according to a statement issued by the New Jersey State Police on July 20th of 2023. So they went from possibly, however long ago it was, thought there was a possible connection, ruled it out. Now they have ruled it back in. So evidently with the discovery and arrest of Rex Heuermann, they decided to take another look at these Atlantic City killings, and possibly have found some, as they said, Rex Heuermann has some ties to Atlantic City. So it will be interesting to find out exactly what the ties are, aside from the similarities to the Long Island victims. So we will wait and see. We will be patient and wait and see. All right, what do I have next? Okay. So I'm assuming since you're a true crime, you know who profiler John Kelly is. And apparently a few years ago, I can't remember the article, I think was maybe from 2011, 2015. John Kelly and his team had done a profile of the Eastbound Strangler. After they went to the scene and, did all their research and investigating. And so I just wanted to read you some excerpts from, this is not the whole profile, but it's just some excerpts that this article had, I thought were interesting. And this is John Kelly, I'm quoting John Kelly. The way he took the women and propped them up in the ditch, the way he posed the women, spaced them out, suggests he is a very sophisticated killer. He also says these were not the first women he killed, and if he's not dead or in jail, they won't be the last. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. The team immediately crafted a criminal profile of the killer, which Kelly said local authorities used to search for suspects. The initial profile read, "This lethal predator is a local male who is very familiar with the Atlantic City area and the disposal site of his victims." Now, I've never been to the East Coast. I've been to the Southeast Coast. I have been to South Carolina and North Carolina, and I've never been to up around New York, New Jersey, but I'm assuming that Long Island and Atlantic City are fairly close, in the same general area. So I thought that was interesting that it said that he was familiar with the area. He goes on to say he has a very organized personality, which influences his personal and everyday activities, including his work. I keep wanting to call him Ray Heuermann. Rex Heuermann is an architect. And I would just assume that you would, if you were an architect, that you would either would be or would need to be fairly organized. That's just me speculating, thinking. He says he is very rigid and structured in his everyday life. There's a place for everything, and everything in its place would be his motto. He has read and still reads books on serial offenders, and he has some knowledge of crime scenes and crime investigations. So this caught my attention because in one of the articles that I was reading, they police talked to, and I can't remember where it was at, maybe in New York, had talked to a prostitute who had actually met Rex Heuermann on a date. Apparently they were going to have dinner first before they got on with the rest of the evening's activities. But this lady said that while they were having dinner, he immediately brought up the conversation of true crime, asked her if she was interested in true crime, and if she had heard about the Gilgo Beach killings. So, very interesting. At least I thought it was. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, so please do leave comments. And let me know if you think any of this information from John Kelly's profile might match up with Rex Heuermann. And the last thing that John Kelly said is he has an extreme foot fetish and has a collection of women's shoes and the shoes of his victims. Once again, that goes back to the authorities in Long Island in New York looking for trophies and souvenirs from his house, and now I think from 2 different storage bins, storage lockers. And interestingly, in the same article that I was reading, this new information that's come out in the last couple of days, I was scrolling down through, and there was pictures of them taking some of the things that they had found, and were taking from, I think it was his house. The one picture that caught my eye was that they had taken a pair of roller skates. Roller skates will be a form of shoes. Now, I'm not saying this means anything. As I always say, could be something, could be nothing. But it's just interesting that at least John Kelly in his profile is saying that this the Eastbound Strangler has a foot fetish, and that he would have taken the victim's shoes and have a collection of the victim's shoes as souvenirs. So, just food for thought. All right, let's see if I got anything else. Nope, that's the last slide. So we will go back to there we go. So that is the latest information as of whatever today is. I don't know what the date is. All my days have run together this week, y'all. It's been a long week. Got one more day to go and I'll be off. Anyway, losing my train of thought. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like I said, I would love to know all your guys' thoughts about this new information that's come out, and if you think it is possible that Rex Heuermann could be the Eastbound Strangler, the Atlantic City Strangler. Please do comment. I'd appreciate it if you like, share, comment on the video. It helps get out in the YouTube world algorithms, however that works. I'm not that technically savvy. It takes me an hour just to get ready to try to record this videos that I do. Anyway, if you like what we have here, take a look at my other videos. I have created a playlist of all the videos I've done so far on Rex Heuermann and the Long Island serial killings. So you can take a look at that. Before you leave, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you get notifications of when I upload new videos. I try to do 2 to 3 videos a week, depending on my work schedule. I don't have a set work schedule in the kind of work I do. It's kind of hectic, and I never know when I'm going to have to work and when I'm going to be off. So I try to just get videos recorded and uploaded as I have time. But I do make the time to do it, because to me, it's very important to me to get word out about our missing persons and our cold cases. So please do check out, even if you've never heard of the case. You know, I know the bigger cases, like, you know, get all the attention, but please, if you have some extra time, take a look at some of the local cases that don't get the big media attention, because they deserve to be looked at, and the victims deserve to be remembered and not forgotten. That's the main purpose I created my little channel here, is to feature some of the smaller cases, and just get the word out and hopefully bring some resolution to some of these cases. All right, I think I have babbled enough for now. So, thank you so much for watching. It is truly appreciated. Until next time, take care of yourself. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. It's the most important thing. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.